This message is brought to you by the original organic bedding and bath brand, Koyuchi.
I sleep hot, and I was always tossing and turning, trying to find the cool spot in the sheets.
Searching for cooler, more restful sleep? Meet Koyuchi. Their 100% organic cotton percale sheets are cool, breathable, and lightweight, perfect for hot sleepers.
Koyuchi makes going to bed feel like a luxury hotel stay. The naturally crinkled texture relaxes me the second I climb in. And these sheets are beautiful.
Choose from calming colors made with low-impact dyes. 100% organic, all-natural, and free of toxins you'll find in other sheets. Koyuchi sheets are safe for your skin and sustainably made, so they're better for the planet.
With Koyuchi, I no longer overheat at night. I wake up feeling rested and restored.
Koyuchi, for cooler, healthier sleep. Get 15% off when you visit Koyuchi.com. That's Koyuchi.com to get 15% off. Koyuchi.com.
Always follow the money. That's what I always say. You always follow the money. Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard on VSiN.
Yes, here we are. Follow the Money live from Circa downtown. Paulie Howard, Matt Humans on a Wednesday, going strong. Matt leaves tonight for Hawaii. We'll talk week 0. We got some great guests coming up. The Meat Man, Steve Wiss, at the bottom of the hour. Brad Biggs covers the Bears for the Chicago Tribune. We'll talk Bears, and can Caleb Williams get this done? And Ben Johnson and all the hype. Week 0 is here. Paul Stone with a couple picks and an incredible story regarding high school football in Texas that he'll share. He was at the game. We call him the most interesting man in the world. He has some incredible stories. He'll share one coming up. MLB scoreboard, win some, lose some.
I don't think he can be the most interesting man in the world. He's been married for 25 years. What?
Okay.
Come on. I mean, that automatically eliminates you. But
okay. Yeah. He's got some good stories, nevertheless. And I tell you, I watched it yesterday. I would have finished the sucker, but we had to get ready for the show. The Cowboys documentary on Netflix is awesome.
Well, I'll tell you what, if Paul Stone had stories about partying at the White House with Michael Irvin, then he might be the most interesting man in the world. Yep. I bet he did not do that, though. To me, I saw you tweeting about the Cowboys documentary today, and that's one of my favorite parts of those Cowboys teams. Back when they won 3 Super Bowls, is the White House, the party house they had near the facility with all the chicks and the drugs. Yeah. And Michael Irvin was like the kingpin of the whole deal.
Correct.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And most guys didn't want to get into it, but Michael Irvin goes, I'll tell you the stories. Yeah. And Eric Williams got in a car accident, was out for the year coming from the White House. And I know that's also well documented in the book, Boys Will Be Boys, from Jeff Pearlman, which is incredible. and the stuff there, and I'm halfway through, but then it's just, you win back-to-back Super Bowls, and you fire the head coach, and then you hire a guy with no experience in terms of NFL, and then you haven't been to a title game in 30 years now. So it's incredible what's happened to the Cowboys and where they were at when Jerry buys it, and now they can't even get out of their own way.
Well, it was a great story at the time. And
That's right.
Barry Switzer that guy was an absolute character.
No doubt. The press conference.
He fit in with those Cowboys teams.
Yep.
No question about it. But the last 30 years, Jerry Jones' plan has backfired.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. And I got to get this Parsons deal done as well. We'll start with day baseball and some in-play. The Tigers swept the Astros. Houston finally scored. They hadn't scored in 31 innings.
Oh, crazy.
So they get shut out back-to-back games. They got me yesterday. That plus 650 ticket would have cashed. They were the only team that was shut out. They scored 2 in the 4th, but it doesn't do anything. As Valdez got lit up again. So they get swept, and Valdez gave up a 6 spot in the first inning. This guy has been terrible in August. He came in 0-2 with an ERA of 6. We'll just add to that. As he got roughed up, and Detroit takes care of business. Good job by the Tigers, 7-2, as they punish Houston after winning 1-0, walking it off in the 10th yesterday. So, they're getting helped out by the fact that Seattle's also going to get swept. So they stay a game and a half up in the division. But between Valdez and Houston and not playing good ball right now.
No, they're not. And actually, you look around baseball right now and you say, who wants to win this thing?
That's right.
All these teams are struggling. That's why when we talk about the baseball playoffs being wide open, I really believe right now that that's the truth. Any team that gets in there could win it.
I think you're right. Yep. And the Cubbies finally got the broom out and did a good job against the Brewers. That hurt our feelings in Game 2 with Woodruff. But, the Mets were in their tailspin. They're getting some much-needed wins. So there's a lot of that going on in MLB. The Pirates take 2 out of 3 from the Blue Jays. The Blue Jays could only manage 1 run. That was a surprise. And Pittsburgh gets 2 early, and it holds up. Bassett was good, but he didn't get any help from the sticks. 2-1 Pirates. And they got me again. I'm like Matt Humans at the Wendy's drive-thru here. I'm furious. Yesterday, I bet Turner. Trey Turner is 5 for 6 with a triple, and it's 11-2 Phillies in the 9th. 6 of the last 7 games, Turner has had at least 2 hits, and imagine if you laddered the bases and the hits. The guy is 5 for 6 today.
Well,
11-2 Phillies.
You bet it yesterday, and you didn't come back with it today?
No. Early start.
You got to come back with it the second day.
I know. It's like Ohtani. Like Ohtani.
You bet Ohtani, stays under. Next day, homers.
Home run.
Goes over.
I know.
So you got to stick. I mean, if you lose, you got to stick with it the next day.
Yeah.
You believed in it for a reason.
I know.
Right?
I know. Yeah. These early starts will get you too. But imagine if you laddered.
You were
that
up
one.
at 7 o'clock this morning.
I was. Yeah. Sure. Huh? I know. Forgot. Son of a gun. 11-2. The guy's 5 for 6. I'm not the only one. TMI, Ozzy, our buddy Jordan Scott, your buddy Mama's Pizza. I mean, we all forgot. We were on that. I mean, this guy's on a sick run. What he's doing. The other story is Luzardo, and it's now a final. 11-2 Phillies. Luzardo struck out 12 guys in 6 innings. Mm-hmm. So great job by the Phillies here, and they get the 2-run shot in the bottom of the 8th after they bullpen blows it. So the sticks, a lot of guys are hitting for the Phillies now, and they take out Seattle, and now Seattle's in a funk now too. You're right. Now Seattle loses 2 out of 3 to the Mets, and now they get swept in Phillies. This has been a bad road trip, and it didn't go well in Baltimore as well. So home team's 3-0 so far to start the day.
Well, the good news for the Phillies is they win today, and they win big, 11-2. Like you said, they get a lot of guys hitting. The bad news this week, I get the sense that Zach Wheeler is going to be out for the season.
That's
sure
true.
Looks that way, right?
Yep, that's the bad news, right. But they still have a lot of arms and certainly a lot of sticks as well. And top of the second, Cleveland and Arizona tied at 1. Guardians with a guy on third. Tough loss last night. Arizona comes back to beat them 6-5. Cleveland now is taking the lead 2-1. They're $1.80 in play at DraftKings, 10.5 the total in that one. It's Messick who's making his MLB debut for Cleveland against Fott. So early runs here, 2-1, 10.5 the total, and 180 the money line on Cleveland. How about the Yankees?
Nice job.
I wish they all were like that.
You hyped it up yesterday, the Malinsky special.
Yep.
Several times on the show. Rocking chair winner last night. That was a dream game for the Yankees. Tied the franchise record with 9 homers.
Oh, nuts. Right up back to back in the first inning, right? Right? Are you feeling better about your Yankees?
Yeah.
If they win tonight, they're only 4 back.
I know. I'm not that surprised. I said last week that the schedule was about to get much softer before the Twins came to town, and that the Yankees were probably going to start winning some games, winning more games, and ease up. Will Hill and I were talking about the Yankees. We were complaining almost every night, and I said, probably going to ease up now into criticism and actually stop recommending those bets on the Yankees to miss the playoffs because the line, kept dropping.
Sure.
Because the Yankees are now going to start winning games as the schedule gets a lot softer. They beat up on the Twins, the Cardinals, last night the Rays, and they're starting to get hot. Paul, when we get to early October, I really think the baseball playoffs are going to be kind of like the NCAA tournament we talked about a lot. It's about getting hot at the right time. And, you don't necessarily want to be hot in the middle of August or late August. So you can't overreact if your team is the team you bet is in a little bit of a funk right now. I really think this baseball playoffs is going to be great, man. Yep. It is going to be wide open, but that makes it tough in terms of when you're talking about who should you bet in the futures. I think if you've got a good number on the Blue Jays right now, you got to feel pretty good about that.
Yep.
Or the Brewers.
Damn right.
But the Brewers can't lose today with the Miz kid on the mound at Wrigley Field.
Got to bounce back.
Yeah.
I know. What do you think of? Do you like to stay away from a team or you come back? You score 13 runs like that, I'm kind of freaked out. So now you're coming back and they're underdogs with the rookie, Schlittler going to Rasmussen, career as an ERA under 1 in 6 starts against the Yankees. That's nuts.
Staying away from the Yankees today. This it's a bad pitching matchup for them, and also a night after you hit 9 homers, I wouldn't be surprised if the Yankees score like 2 runs tonight.
Well said.
Right?
I totally agree.
Okay.
They also struck out 10 times last night, so I believe you can get Rasmussen's K prop, which is 5.5. So whatever reason, he has owned the Yankees, and they're throwing the young guy tonight. coming up. So the Malinsky special cash there. That's good. And it's a big one for the Brewers. You're right with Miz. To be $1.20 on the road against the Cubbies, and the Cubbies swept the doubleheader and they needed it. And now moving forward, the Padres have the easiest schedule left. The Dodgers second easiest, then the Cubs, and then the Yankees. Easiest remaining schedules. Seattle's seventh easiest going back. So that'll help these teams as well. Although it's a lot of times teams choke and can't get it done. But as we've talked about many times, the Reds have the second most difficult schedule remaining. Cleveland's in the middle of the pack as they try to run these teams down. It's getting interesting with Kansas City. They have won 5 in a row. They're only 2.5 back now. Boston lost again. Seattle keeps losing. Texas has lost 8 of 10. They get them. They're throwing Cameron. So this is a surprise that Kansas City didn't give up, and they're hanging in there, and they caught the Rangers at the right time. Now, do you want Milwaukee after what happened to Miz last time out? Do you think he'll bounce back?
I don't know for sure he's going to bounce back, but overnight I was looking at this, and the Miz minus 108, and I went ahead and bet that this morning after the Brewers got swept in the doubleheader on Tuesday. I think there's a decent chance Miz bounces back. Now, I don't expect him to go long in this game, though. They're watching his pitch count pretty carefully.
Right.
So,
Yep.
But also, I'm not afraid to bet against the Cubs bullpen, so I played this for the whole game.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm with you on that one. Good. Sounds good. Clock's ticking. We're going to talk about Week 0 coming up in the next segment. Matt's going to the Stanford-Hawaii game. We're here Saturday, and NFL just weeks away. Get your VSiN Pro right now and lock it in. New subscribers get instant access to both our college football and NFL betting guides loaded with team previews, power ratings, betting systems, and the best bet from VSiN's top analysts. The morning email from Bill 80, every best bet, every host, every guest, the betting splits, the market insights, the betting systems from Mackinnon, the prop analyzer, which you'll love, the dog videos, the tools, the data, the pro systems, the 24/7 video, $9.99. Tell your family, tell your friends, save 50% off with the annual plan. VSiN.com/subscribe. Another Grandissimo here. We're up to 19 with the Grandissimo, $100,000 buy-in, and they're on pace for $20,000 in Survivor. Week 0 up next. Hawaii, Stanford, Sam Houston, Western Kentucky, Farmageddon. We'll go rapid fire with Matt Humans coming up next on VSiN. Follow the money, the Sports Betting Network, Sirius XM Channel 158.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
2-1 Guardians in the third inning, $1.80 in play, total of 9.5 now at Arizona. Keep you up to date here. Joined now by the Meat Man, Steve Wiss at Meat Man Soccer on X. Joins us every week to talk soccer. The Prem, the lower leagues, does a great job because we win pod. And the Nordic Soccer Pod, he did a great job earlier in the week with Nigel. I was watching, check him out with Bet Rivers on the Progressive Guest Line. How you doing, my friend?
Hey, I'm really good. Yeah, it was great to have Premier League back for the first week, and I'm watching matches as we speak now. Champions League qualifying, so it gets exciting for the soccer season in Europe.
Absolutely.
Now, bring it on.
I got to tell you, Meat Man is my favorite soccer analyst ever since Nigel Seeley did not show up for our soccer penalty kick challenge over the summer, right? He talked big. We invited him to come out, and he never showed up, Paul. What happened? Huh? Where's Nigel?
I can't. The other thing, Steve, he's got to fly out here. Steve, the people that are mocking us and continue, they dismiss it. Matt, it never stops. There's no way they can do it. Steve, Nigel was just on. He says we're going to miss the goal half the time.
Come on.
Every time I practice a penalty, just in a little bit of a kickabout, I always think of you guys. And I think, I do. And I'm like, it's such a mental thing when you're in front of that goal.
Yeah.
Nothing can quite prepare it for you. I really hope we get to see this one day.
We got to. It's going to be huge. Paging Bill 80 again. Come on.
Stadium swim.
Yes, come on.
Set it up.
Derek Stevens, you call yourself a businessman. Let's go. This will be huge. It'll be awesome to see if we can do this and take 10 kicks at the can against a seasoned keeper. All right, my friend, let's go to the Prim. It is great to have it back. As you mentioned, Brentford against Aston Villa. You have a prop here. Take it away.
Well, I did say on the future show that Brentford to get relegated at plus 300 was a definite bet.
Yep.
And the first match, really, they stunk the place out first half.
Yep.
3-0 down against Nottingham Forest. Chris Wood, who is the striker for Forest, scored 2 goals. And a lot of people are going to be betting on Aston Villa to win this match. And I'm not going to put anyone off that. I think Villa are a great bet around plus 110. You might even get a bit more. But I prefer a plot play, and that is Ollie Watkins to score or assist. Former Brentford player, and he has a brilliant record against his former club. He has 6 goals and 2 assists against them in 7 Premier League appearances. And the thing with Watkins, he's not just a goal scorer, he can assist a goal as well. So it's really important to get in this market to get both the goal and the assist on your potential side. But really, I think Villa will do a job on them here. I think you're looking at possible multiple goals for Ollie Watkins. Because if Brentford play like they did last week in the first half last week, then they are going to be completely outclassed again. But Watkins to have a big game against his former club, he's going to be extra motivated.
Great breakdown. Love the pick. You're right. Brentford was atrocious in the first time out. How about an over Saturday morning? Bournemouth against Wolves, 2.5.
Yes. First reason is that both teams conceded 4 goals last week.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that was against Liverpool and Manchester City, but immediately there's defensive concerns. I'm betting blind Bournemouth over 3.5 goals in the first 10 matches. That's just a personal thing I'm doing because they've lost their entire defence in the off-season to several big players to the likes of Real Madrid, PSG, places like that. So this is a significantly weakened defence, so they're going to have to win matches in shootouts at Bournemouth. Luckily, they've got offensive firepower like Semenyo, scored 2 goals last week against Liverpool. Evan Nielsen, a Brazilian striker, who's pretty good. So they've got a lot of goals in them, but you just worry about them defensively. So, or always looking at over goals for Bournemouth games. Take the over 2.5 goals here at minus 137. I'm taking over 3.5 as well. Wolves are one of them teams, really poor first week performance. Yes, it was Manchester City, but they have a bad record starting the season off. And they're in the mix of a relegation as well, to be honest. And they've got to really improve. They should be able to score against this Bournemouth team, though, who have lost their entire defensive back line over the summer.
All right, another total. Both clubs off a 1-0 win. Leeds beat Everton and Arsenal beat Man U. How about under 3 and Arsenal leads?
I think this goal line is way too high. This is an Asian goal line of 3. So the only way you're losing this bet is if there's 4 goals scored or more. Well, the first problem I've got for anyone looking at the overs here is I don't think Leeds will score. They're my own team, and I was really pleased to get a 1-0 win against Everton. But I don't think we would have scored from open play. It took a penalty late on in the match.
Right.
And if we're not going to score from open play against Everton, what chance against Arsenal, who had the best defence in the Premier League last season, the best expected goals against numbers? They started with a clean sheet away at Manchester United. They have got the best defence in the Premier League, and they've got a top keeper as well. So immediately, I don't think Leeds will score. Arsenal, Havertz looks like he's going to be injured for the game. They sometimes lack offensive rhythm. The new striker, Gyökeres, it's going to be his second start for the club. He's not scored yet. This looks like 1-0, 2-0 to Arsenal, to be honest with you, for the under 3 Asian goal line with a really good bet. I think Leeds will come here quite defensive, keep it tight. They won't want to get beat big. If Leeds only lose 1-0 or 2-0, that's not a terrible result for Leeds. Mm-hmm. Newly promoted team, they can keep some momentum going. So it's going to be one of them cases where Arsenal sometimes struggle to break these teams down. They'll win the game, Marshall. They should win the game, but it might not be a big win. So I do like the under. All
right, follow the money. Paulie and Matt Youmans, VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Meatman, Steve Wiss, our guest at Meatman Soccer on X. On Monday, disappointed with how Liverpool played, giving up that 2-0 lead, and then they got too late and won 4-2. Newcastle against Liverpool. Make the case for Newcastle here against the champs.
Yeah, this is a really spicy game. Monday Night Football over here in the UK. And, I mean, there's a lot of focus off the field, let alone on it, because Liverpool are trying to sign Alexander Isak from Newcastle, the one-away striker. So there's a bit of bad blood between the two teams right now. The atmosphere is going to be so intense. And St. James's Park here at Newcastle is one of those home grounds where the crowd just get right behind their team and they really bay into the blood of their opponents. So it's a tricky one for Liverpool. I think Newcastle can beat them. I think we can get a shock on the card here. And I'm going to go the draw no bet option with Newcastle plus 150. You could also bet draw double chance around evens. Newcastle at very worst, I think, will get a point. And one of the main reasons I love this for confidence is the last time the two teams met, Newcastle beat Liverpool in the EFL Cup final to win some silverware last season. And the manager, Eddie Howe, completely schooled Arne Slot, the Premier League winners, of course. So Newcastle are capable of being very strong defensively. They're going to use the emotion of the crowd. And they played well last week against Villa. No one expected them to. But Aston Villa didn't have a single shot in the first half against Newcastle last week. I think they want to prove people wrong. I think the players have seen everyone's down on them, and they're going to say, do you know what? We're much better than that. And they want to prove to the whole of the national audience on Monday night that they can get a result here against Liverpool, who are vulnerable defensively. Like you said, Paulie, they conceded them 2 goals. So this is a chance for Newcastle to make a statement.
Give us another total. Championship League, the league below the Premier League. Luton Town against Cardiff, total 2.5.
Under. Definitely an under match, this one. It's an early kickoff for a start, 12:30 p.m. local time. We know that a lot of those matches do end under in the English lower leagues.
Yep.
Possibly due to, circadian rhythms and stuff like that. Players not up to scratch. But this is actually a battle between two teams who could be very much in the promotion shake-up at the end of the season. So 2 strong sides. Luton have had 2 home matches. They've won both of them 1-0. We talk about Luton a lot on this show. I really feel we do. I know a lot of Luton fans, and they're not really happy at how the offense is working with Luton Town right now. It's a work in progress, as they are saying. But they've got a new goalkeeper who's very good. He's made some really good saves, so they can probably keep a clean sheet again. If this ended 1-0 Luton, I wouldn't be surprised. Cardiff have had 2 away games, and they've had 2 shots on target away from home. That's a pretty pathetic effort, actually. Defensively, they've been pretty solid, to give Cardiff some credit. But I think we're looking at a pretty boring game. This is 7:30 Eastern time kickoff in the States. You don't want to be getting up for this unless you like watching. What do you guys like when you watch bets that you got unders with? Do you kind of turn it off, or do you just kind of watch nervously? Because but I think this is going to be a boring game.
Yeah.
That's a great question. Sometimes it's best to turn it off.
That's true.
So you don't get aggravated the entire time.
No kidding. Yeah. No. In 30 seconds here, maybe a minute quickly. Any concern, anything surprise? There's been some ugly starts, right? Cheltenham Town outscored 10-1 on the season. It's been a disaster for Peterborough United. They've scored 1 goal in 4 matches. Anything concern you so far?
Hugely down at the bottom there in Cheltenham, Shrewsbury as well. Crawley haven't looked very good, although they drew against MK Dons. Typical MK Dons last night, beating a really, really poor team. Yeah. That is the Dons for you. and like you said, Peterborough in League One. And Plymouth really do worry me, by the way. Do not bet on Plymouth, even at home. And away from home, they're almost an auto fade. So those 2 sides do really worry me in League One.
Yep, and a great job with Nigel. Good call on Crew that you had a winner earlier in the week. Great to talk to you, Steve. We'll talk to you next week. Good luck, my friend.
Thanks so much, guys. Take care.
You got the Meat Man Steve West, Because We Win Pod at Meat Man Soccer on X. Win some, lose some. Coming up next, how about a 25-1 shot in play that got there? Coming up on Follow the Money, VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Follow the money. That's what I always say. You always follow the money. Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard on VSiN.
Mitch on vacation all week. Human sitting in another day. Follow the Money. Sirius XM channel 158. Great to talk NFL. We go out to the Progressive guest line, and it's Brad Biggs, who's covered the Bears since 2001 for the Chicago Tribune, and they look great on Sunday, and he joins us on the Progressive guest line to talk a little football here. Appreciate the time, my friend. How you doing?
I'm great today, guys. Practice wrapped up a little bit ago. It's a nice sunny day here now. I got no complaints whatsoever.
Excellent. Good. Excellent. So they were phenomenal in the win against the Bills on Sunday night. Do you think, is everything going as planned, and the hype and probably the biggest expectations here from what's expected from Ben Johnson coming in from the Lions?
Yeah, I mean, there's a tremendous amount of hype. There's no question about that. There's a belief throughout the building that they've got the right guy to kind of help get this pointed in the right direction. And it's overlooked by a lot of people is the fact that this division's a monster, especially if J.J. McCarthy's anything as a rookie, right? Like, this is a loaded division. So, 13, 14 plays for Caleb Williams and the starters on offense the other night. I can't put a whole lot into that because the Bills starters were not on the field. And I don't think anybody got carried away last year when the Bills went out to Orchard Park and put it on the same team. The Bears won that game 33-6 last summer.
Right.
Okay.
Good point.
Buffalo ended up being pretty good, and the Bears were embarrassingly bad. Right.
Good points. But at least it looked like an NFL product and an NFL offense with what Caleb was doing and how he was finding his tight end. Have you seen that in camp? Is it no ad-libbing? He's running? Is it a design play?
Well, and you bring up an interesting point about Caleb getting the ball to the tight end, because that's something that they didn't do last year. They had a guy in Cole Kmet who in 2023 had like 93 targets. And that number was cut drastically a year ago. I don't have the figures in front of me, but I want to say there were like 11 games where Cole Kmet had 3 targets or less last season. So, you're going to say, okay, well, why? Part of it's the scheme. Part of it's the play caller. Part of it's what the defense is doing. Part of it too is the quarterback not throwing the ball to the position. Part of it is the offense not running in rhythm very often. And it's difficult sometimes to get the ball to the tight end if you're not in rhythm, because you start throwing the ball late across the middle. And that's, as you guys know, that's how bad things happen.
Yeah.
I had a draft prop on the Bears to take Tyler Warren, the tight end from Penn State. They went with Colston Loveland, and you think he's going to be a big part of that offense. I've said, Brad, that Caleb Williams is kind of like a wild horse, and Ben Johnson's got to find a way to put a saddle on him. Do you think that's an accurate way to put it? Is Ben Johnson going to struggle trying to get him to play within the script, within the offense this season?
Well, that's going to be the goal, right? Because what Caleb does in a really special manner right now, guys, is make the creative plays. Like, he operates in that creative world about as well as any quarterback does. And he's so comfortable doing that. But as we saw last season, and as we've seen with other quarterbacks before, it's really hard to make a living doing that, right? You can't constantly be in that world. And so getting him to be able to win from the pocket, where he was really poor at times last year, I think is the main objective. So it might look a little bit boring, right? But if it's a quick drop and it's a short throw to Roma Dunze or one of the tight ends on a little curl route, you know what? Second and 4 is a great play to be going into. Get your entire playbook open. When that happens, you're taking stress off your offensive lineman with something like that, where the ball's coming out so quickly. So it's just getting him to be able to play in rhythm and on time more consistently. It's not only going to make him better and the offense more effective, it's going to make the other 10 players around him better as well.
You've covered the team since 2001. You've seen a lot of bad quarterback play. I would say the most talented guy they've had going back to the 70s was Jay Cutler. I mean, Trubisky didn't work out. So how bad does the fan base want this? And if this guy lives up to the hype and takes them to the playoffs year in, year out, that Caleb Williams could own the city. Is that true?
Oh, yeah, but that was, the same thing was true for Justin and for Mitch and for, really everyone else that kind of rolled through here. As I tell my friends, I've got an advanced degree in identifying particularly poor quarterback play. And usually when I'm talking to my friends and I'm not on a radio show that my friend Bill Adie is associated with, I use a little bit more colorful language.
Yeah.
But like it's all there in front of Caleb. Like it's all out there. And I think he understands what it means. I think Ben Johnson is embracing the challenge that's set before him here as well. They've got a tough schedule this year, guys. I mean, they get some, you talk about tangling with the NFC. They're going to play the NFC East. They're going to play the AFC North. And then one of those, games based off where you finish in the standings is against the 49ers. I don't know a lot of people that think the 49ers are going to be really bad again this year, but they should be primed for a much more competitive season under a high-quality coach like Kyle Shanahan.
Brad Biggs with us. He's up at the Bears practice facility, Lake Forest, north of Chicago. A short drive, Paul, from the Dairyland Greyhound Park across the border in Kenosha, Wisconsin.
Oh, very good.
Brad, have you stopped at Dairyland to bet the dogs after practice recently?
No, I'm going to get home and I'm going to walk my dog Reggie and hope that he hasn't done any more damaged stuff that doesn't resemble his toys in the house.
Oh, Reggie, what happened? Oh, poor guy. Hope he's all right.
Quick question for you about I covered the Bears for 5 years and they never made the playoffs. So Brad's had 20 years of basically misery he's got to live through. You're talking about Bears quarterbacks.
Yeah.
It was right there for Jay Cutler, too.
Yes, it was.
Until he sat on the sideline in the NFC Championship game against the Packers and didn't want to play. How about the preseason game on Friday night in Kansas City? Chiefs are 1.5-point favorites, total of 42. I saw your tweet yesterday about Andy Reid's comment that he was going to play some starters here. How do you think both teams are going to play this game on Friday night?
I think the Bears will probably get their frontline guys out pretty darn quick. They elements of practice today. They had probably 4 defensive starters not in there. Some of them have been out for a little while and they're working their way back, but it's all about getting healthy for week 1 at this point in training camp. So I'm not expecting those guys to be on the field long. I think you'll see backups versus backups way before the end of the first quarter, guys.
Okay. Yep. They're high on Bagent. They just gave him $10 million. Mm-hmm. Were you surprised? Yeah. What'd you think of that?
They've talked about him. They've raved about him. Okay. Hardest working guy in the building, those types of things. So if you're going to rave about a guy and you want to set an example for other players in the building, you're talking about a low cost move because Bagent would have been a restricted free agent after this season, guys. I think it's like the base value here is you're looking at like $10 million for 2 years, and the second round tender, I think, for a restricted free agent going into next year is probably like $5.5 million. So he gets money now, so it's probably a win for him. I mean, good for him. That kid to come from Division II, he's earned everything that he's gotten to this point.
Hey, absolutely.
Hey, Brad, quick question for you. How much better do you think this roster is now than it was at the end of last season? And how good do you think this Bears defense is going to be?
Yeah, that's a good question because you look at the defense and you say, well, they've got like 2 new starters from last year. Like most of the guys are back and they were, pretty underwhelming as a defensive unit a year ago. Everybody got swept up in the final 8-10 games of that 2022 season after they traded for Montez Sweat, right? They played, or 2023 season, where they played pretty damn good football in the second half of that season after Sweat came over from the Commanders in the trade. And so a year ago offseason, people are like, oh, this could be a top 10 defense. You look at it, you're like, yeah, that's feasible. They couldn't stop the run last year. They didn't rush the pass rusher with any consistency, and they were brutal on third down. Otherwise, it was all right. I think Dennis Allen is a huge upgrade for him.
Yep.
They've kind of bought into his attitude. I'm intrigued. Like, don't fall into a trap talking about top 10 or top 5. I mean, first of all, what categories are you talking about? But they could be significantly better with mostly the same personnel.
Great answer. Great job, my friend. Good to talk to you, and we'll catch up soon. Appreciate you.
Anytime, fellas. I enjoy it.
Brad Biggs covered the Bears since 2001 for the Chicago Tribune. Follow him on X at Brad Biggs. Up next, the MLB card tonight. I'll try to do it again. I like this pick a lot. I'll tell you who it is. Their opponents lost 8 of 10. Coming up on Follow the Money.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Still 2-1, bottom of the 8th, Cleveland and Arizona. In play total 4.5, and Cleveland now $5 on the money line in play. And we'll get you ready for the night card, night session coming up a little bit later in the show, and dig deep into this unbelievable Netflix documentary. How about them Cowboys? It is strong. We'll get to that coming up. It's great to talk football. Week 0 is right around the corner. And we'll do that with our weekly visit with Paul Stone, Paul Stone Sports on X, and Paul Stone Sports, the website. Check out the podcast as well. He's on the Progressive guest line. We'll go over the schedule here and a couple plays, and then the most interesting man in the world. Remember, he told the story about death row and then running all the marathons. He was a newspaper man for a long time. He's got an unbelievable high school football story that he will share coming up as well. How you doing, sir? Good to see you.
Oh, man, good to be with you and Matt today. We got football, I guess, here in 3 days, so it's our time of year. Get ready to go.
All right, my friend, let's start with the late game on CBS. This was Stanford minus 2.5. Hawaii now laying 2 in this game. Who do you like in the late game, my friend? Take it away.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I'm going to kind of wade in here, guys. I'm going to offer a couple of half-unit plays today. Then we'll get back to the regular size unit. But, looking at this Stanford team, first of all, it is just difficult to imagine that one season ago they defeated both Syracuse and Louisville.
Yeah.
Quite the feat. But this year, they lost a lot of players in the transfer portal. Obviously, some of their better players. They lose defensive end David Bailey to Texas Tech. Wide receiver Emmett Mosley, the 5th, really closed strong. He's now at the University of Texas. And they lost their coach, Troy Taylor, fired in late March amid allegations of mistreating female staff members. So in steps Frank Reich, an old buddy of Andrew Luck's. He's going to be interim coach. But my attention here is on the Hawaii Rainbow Warriors and Timmy Chang in year 4 there in Honolulu. And for me, it all centers around that southpaw sophomore quarterback, Micah Alhado, who played there at Bishop Gorman High School, not too far from where you guys are in Las Vegas. Mm-hmm. He only started 1 game last year as a true freshman. And granted, the opponent was New Mexico, but against the Lobos, Hawaii wins that game 38-30, but perhaps more importantly, Alahado passes for 469 yards and 5 touchdowns, rushes for another 54, over 500 yards of total offense, has 2 of his receivers back that caught more than 60 balls last year. I like this Hawaii team. I think they're going to win this game. A big line movement, but across 0, so not quite as significant. Mm-hmm. I like Hawaii -2 over Stanford Saturday night.
Paul, I'm with you there. You and I talked about this a few weeks ago. I got Hawaii +1.5. I think you probably got the same number, a little bit better. What'd you get here?
I got plus 1.5. I got it not at the peak, not at the best, but I played it, well over a month ago and got the plus 1.5 with Hawaii. I'm
with you. I still think you can lay the 2 here. I hate it when dog flips to the favorite, but again, Hawaii looks like the clearly superior team to me. Micah Alejado, don't forget that name. He's going to be a quarterback who puts up some big numbers like he did in that game against New Mexico. We were talking about dog racing, Paul, and you're a guy and I know who likes the horses. I was talking about the Dairyland Greyhound Park up in Kenosha, Wisconsin.
Sure.
Derby Lane down in Tampa, a couple legendary tracks. Paul Howard's never been to a Greyhound track. You have, right? How many times? He calls you the most interesting man in the world. I got to think you've made several trips to dog tracks.
I've driven by the dog track in West Memphis, Arkansas on I-40, and I don't get out of the car because it's a kind of rough place there. So I've never been to the Greyhound races, man. Wow. Me and Paulie are in the same boat there. I've been to horse races too many times. That's kind of where I got my college education. I was supposed to be taking, courses for credit, and instead I was matriculating in the daily racing form, you might say.
Yeah, good for you. Good for you, School of Hard Knocks. All right, 4 o'clock Pacific, 7 Eastern. Sam Houston in Western Kentucky. Total 61.5, 61 in that range. There's a 62 out there. What do you think of this one? Sam Houston had a good year last year, but in light of how bad they were offensively, take us through this total here.
I'll tell you, first of all, Western Kentucky, they deservedly have a reputation of being a fast-paced team and a high-scoring team under seventh-year head coach Tyson Helton. But after averaging a little over 44 points a game back in 2021, the Hilltoppers, they have kind of slowed in each of the last 3 seasons, averaged only 24.9 points per game last year, and actually finished the season on an 8-4 under run. They scored 31 points or fewer in 11 of their 14 games. So this is a big ask here. They've got a new quarterback, Maverick McIver, who comes over from FCS Abilene Christian, a new offensive coordinator in Rick Bowie, who was his offensive coordinator there at ACU. And they're going to score some points this year, but it takes time to get that offensive side of the football to gel, especially a passing game where you're passing the ball probably 65% of the time. And that's kind of what I'm banking on here. I will note a lot of the viewers and listeners are going to remember that game Abilene Christian played against Texas Tech last year, went to overtime. Yeah. McIver threw for over 500 yards in that game. Really impressive. So he can sling it around the yard, but they got a lot of new faces on offense. Again, it's going to take some time to gel. I came up with a trend that I found, did some research here, dating back to the start of the 2021 season when totals are lined in the 60s in a game played in either week 0 or week 1. So basically teams' first games, the under is 27-12 against the spread. So a total in the 60s, 27-12 to the under. I'll take a half unit on this game as well. Sam Houston, Western Kentucky, to go under the total of 62.
You can listen to Paul Stone break down college football all day.
Damn right.
Look at this guy. He's got the Circus Survivor hat. Look at the way that room is decorated. You can tell he's married. No guy decorates his room like that. He's got plants, bamboo, curtains in the back, right? That's got to be your wife who decorated that room, correct?
My wife is a great decorator. She's got a beautiful yard. Sometimes maybe I'll do my appearance out in the yard. We've got a beautiful garden, rock garden, just all this work that she's done. It makes me look bad because I'm up here handicapping games and betting, and she's out there sweating and working in the yard. But, she definitely has her touch here. This is my media room, though. It kind of doubles as such.
Look at all those plants, Paul. Over under 3.5 plants in the background. I mean, how many do you have in your house?
Over.
0?
Yeah, damn right.
How about Farmageddon, Iowa State and K-State? Did you take 3.5 or 4? Did you take the best number with the Cyclones or no?
I'm really torn on this, and I thought about taking Iowa State when it was +4 and missed it, and now obviously it's kind of settled at 3. And, I'm torn. This line's right where it should be. It's obviously a number that's very mature. It's been worked over. It's been out there for several months. These are two of the teams I think could win this Big 12 conference, and the winner of this game in Dublin on Saturday is kind of going to have a leg up on the rest of the field. But both these teams have questions, and that's what kind of concerns me about this game. First of all, looking at Kansas State, DJ Giddens has he's gone, and he had over 2,500 yards combined rushing over the last 2 seasons. They do have Dylan Edwards, who's a lighter guy, probably not going to be able to carry it 20 times a game, but quite capable. But still, Giddens, man, that was a man. He was a horse back there in the backfield. They also are going to be debuting 2 new offensive tackles, 2 new cornerbacks. So a lot of new faces for Kansas State, and kind of the same for Iowa State. They lose 2 highly productive wide receivers, both of them drafted in the first 3 rounds of this past spring's NFL draft. Both these guys had almost 1,200 yards receiving last season alone. Of course, talking about Jaden Higgins and Jalen Noel. They also have some questions, does Iowa State across their 3-man defensive front? So if it gets to 3.5, I might take Iowa State, but otherwise I'm just going to be enjoying these plants here and drinking flavored coffee and fresh squeezed orange juice and just watching this one for pleasure.
I know you. How about totals? Because the Stanford-Hawaii total's been bet down from 55. I agree with that move. Paul, you're very good with the totals. Did you bet any of those in these first 4 games?
Well, I did bet, of course, the one that I just mentioned, the Sam Western Kentucky under 62. Didn't bet hadn't bet any of the other ones. Last year I'd been really good in totals for about the past decade or so, but last year and even the year before, I've kind of run out of gas. So I've reassessed. I'm going to be very selective in my totals, but nothing to answer your question on the total side of the board at this point.
Did you bet? You gave out Baylor to win the Big 12, correct?
I recommended on your program splitting a unit between, I believe, Arizona State and TCU.
Okay. My mistake. Okay.
I'll tell you what, I'm mistaken. I think it was plus 600 on Arizona State and plus 700 on Baylor splitting a unit.
Baylor. Okay. That's what I thought. Okay.
You said Phil Steele picked Baylor to win the conference.
Phil Steele also picked Baylor as well. I thought Paul did that very good. All right, the most interesting man in the world up next, a double shot. He was working for a newspaper covering this game. He sent in clips. He sent in photos. I can't wait to hear the story coming up next. The game was so wild and crazy, it was on SportsCenter on ESPN. Paul Stone with a breakdown of what happened and the incredible finish. High school football game in Texas years ago coming up on Follow the Money.
How many plants do you have in your place?
0. The Sports Betting Network.